Hi, this is A New Nigeria with Wale Oluwade. This is your current affairs program where we critically examine the strategic issues that bedevil Nigeria's developmental aspirations and boldly offer simple, practical, but audacious ideas on building the Nigeria of our collective desires. On today's episode of the program, I'll be doing the concluding part on what I did on last episode concerning the making of sporting champions. Today I'll look at what I've titled The Economy of Sports. Now, I'll take this short break, and when I return, we'll get right into the presentation. Please stay with me. Welcome back. Now, sporting activities are global economic activities that impact every facet of our lives. Sports aren't merely for fitness or recreational purposes. Sporting activity is a source of fulfillment. It is a source of livelihood for millions of people the world over. It is a source of recognition and pride for both individuals and nations. Now, the global sports market is valued at nearly $484.9 billion in 2023. Now, having grown at a compound annual growth rate of 3.6% since 2018, this is expected to grow to 484.9 billion. From 484.9 billion to 651 billion in 2028, and growing at a 6.1% CAGR, it is expected to grow to 862.6 billion in 2033. The sports industry is expected to grow by 2033 to $862.6 billion. Gymnastics, polo, cricket, rugby, car racing, and even lately the UFC, where you have Kamaru Usman, Israel Adesanya, and the likes. Now, each of these different sporting activities have different levels of attractiveness and lucrativeness. For instance, football, soccer in America, but globally it's called football, is undoubtedly the most popular, lucrative, and followed sports globally. The football or soccer industry is valued at well over 4.19 billion or 4.2 billion US dollars as of 2023, and it's expected to rise to about 5.85 billion in 2033. Some popular sports football competitions include, of course, the FIFA World Cup, that have billions, over 2 or 3 billions reverted to their TV screens, every 4-year interval. Also, the UEFA championships that just concluded, amongst European nations. Then you also have the UEFA Champions League, that's top football clubs in Europe competing. Then, of course, the English Premier League, the AFCON, of course, that's African countries competing, amongst themselves. Then you have Copa America amongst Latin America. So these are some popular football competitions. Now, the English Premier League is the most watched sports league in the world. It is broadcast in 212 territories to 643 million homes with an estimated global audience of 4.7 billion viewers. That's the English Premier League alone. Most of us Nigerians, young men, are passionate or ardent followers of some of these football clubs. I'm an ardent, supporter of the Arsenal Football Club. I think the best team, the best football club in Europe, in my own opinion. I'm biased, yes, I admit. Now, sporting excellence have done, a far more effective branding for some countries than anything else. The English Premier League, for instance, has done far more effective brand management for England, football for Brazil and Argentina, basketball for America, rugby for New Zealand and South Africa, cricket for India and England. Talking about this, if I were to, I actually did a rough survey some time ago. I got 10 graduates and I asked them who was the president of Argentina. Not one of them got the right answer. And then I asked about the president of Brazil. Not one of them got it. 10 graduates, university graduates. But then I asked them who was the greatest footballer currently. Of course, the 10 of them got Lionel Messi. even though Ronaldo fans will argue. But then I said, who was the greatest footballer ever? Majority said Pelé. Now, Pelé, of course, is a Brazilian. Lionel Messi is an Argentine. So that's the power of football. Football gives you global, you can attain global stardom through sports. Now, other popular sports are football, cricket, like I mentioned football. Now, cricket also, because India is a cricket nation. So, and India is about 1.4 billion people. And then you have field hockey, you have tennis, and you have volleyball, table tennis, basketball, baseball, rugby, golf, etc. Now, there are ancillary sports sectors, meaning there are sectors of the economy that underpin or undergird, or provide, services, to the sports economy globally. Number one, broadcasting. And I know this, I understand it pretty well because the English Premier League wasn't this famous 30 odd years or 25 years ago, but something happened. The incursion of television into football, changed the dynamic completely. The English Premier League has become this global juggernaut, this huge global phenomenon it has become because of the power of broadcasting. Also, merchandising. So you have organizations such as Nike, Adidas, Puma, Asics, and the like. They produce sports equipment, shoes, jerseys, and the like. Then you have sponsorships, sports sponsorships, different organizations, even in banking, financial services, name it, engineering, whatever, providing huge sponsorships, even naming rights, like the Emirates Stadium of Arsenal is because the Emirates, organization, do that. Now, you have hospitality, medicine and research, management and agency, because most of these sports icons, sports stars have agents or management companies that manage them, that stand in for them for their contracts. So you also have a branch of law for sports, and then they also deal in sports contracts. You have sports finance, then you have facility management. All these huge stadiums belonging to sports organizations, they require realtors, or experts to manage those facilities. Now, what are some of the benefits accruing to both countries, from sports? Number one, sports drives tourism. A huge driver of the tourism ecosystem is sports. The second benefit, it boosts local economies, it creates jobs. Number four, stabilizes society. Because when you have youth engaged in sporting activities, it channels their energies, their latent energies into productive uses rather than getting involved in nefarious, activities. Sports also enhances nation building. Sports is a wielder, it helps to foster community, engagement. People from different races and cultures. I mean, in Nigeria, for instance, whenever the Super Eagles, are playing, that's the moment where Nigerians become truly united on a single narrative. Then tribalism and all of that becomes irrelevant to Nigerians. I mean, as divided, as polarized as we are as Nigerians, but sports has become, a rallying factor. So, and that's the power of sports. It helps to ensure, solid, societal harmony. It helps to enhance nation building. Also, sports help, to project positive brand, for nations. I touched about it, People know Argentina, people know Brazil. Brazil is the single largest exporter of football globally. I mean, just imagine, the biggest, exporter of footballers is Brazil. I mean, that's mind-blowing. I mean, Jamaica today is the biggest, renowned for sporting excellence in athletics, especially short distances, 100, 200 meters, the relays. Jamaicans come to mind. Tiny nation, but they're renowned for that. Now, finally, sports also fosters peace and cooperation, among nations. Who are the top 10 earning sports stars globally? Those who are earning, their earnings from sports. Who are the top 10? Number one, Cristiano Ronaldo. As of 2023, earned $260 million US annually, from football. John Ram, a golfer, $218 million US, 2023. Lionel Messi, $135 million US from football, 2023. LeBron James, basketball, 128 million US dollars, 2023 from football. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 150 million US dollars, basketballer, 2023. Kylian Mbappe, 110 million US dollars, 2023 from football. Neymar, $108 million, from football last year, 2023. The richest sports stars ever. Number one, Michael Jordan. He was a basketballer. He is currently worth 3.75 billion US dollars. I want that to sink in. A basketballer, retired basketballer, Michael Jordan, number 23 jersey, Air Jordan and all of that. He is currently worth 3.75 billion US dollars. Number two, Tiger Woods, a golfer, still playing, has won 15 major golf tournaments, 82 golf PGA champions, is currently worth 2.6 or 2.67 billion US dollars. Number three, Cristiano Ronaldo, footballer, currently worth 1.92 billion US dollars. Arnold Palmer, a golfer, old man in his 70s or close to 80 actually. Arnold Palmer, $1.76 billion. LeBron James, still actively playing basketball, 1.7 billion US dollars. Jack Nicklaus, the man who holds the record as the highest, to have won the highest number of golf majors. Not PGA Championship, but golf majors. He has won 18. White Tiger is second, who has won 15. Now, Jack Nicklaus is worth 1.67 billion US dollars. Lionel Messi, number 7, 1.67 billion US dollars. David Beckham, footballer, retired footballer, 1.5 billion US dollars. Roger Federer, retired tennis, player, lawn tennis, 1.49 billion US dollars. Floyd Mayweather, money man, a retired boxer in the middleweight category, is worth 1.48 billion US dollars. America, the sports industry contributes at least 1% of US GDP. GDP of US today is about 27 trillion US dollars. So 1% of that will be about 270 billion US dollars. The EU, the European Union, region, the sporting industry contributes about 2% of their GDP. The United Kingdom, sports contribute about 2% of their GDP. Now, I said earlier that one of the benefits that sports creates direct and indirect, millions of direct and indirect jobs. In America, these are some of the job statistics from sports. There are 14,000 professional athletes. 14,000 professional athletes in all the different sports, that is being engaged in America. 14,000 professional athletes. Now, there are more than 175,000 coaches and about 13,000 officials directly employed by sports or through sports in America. Now, this is not counting the ancillary, employment from all the other ancillary sectors, merchandising, television, medicine, law, management agency, name it, hospitality, tourism, and all the like. Now, in the UK, there are about 183,000 working in the sports and fitness sector. Now, why is America so dominant in sports? Why is America such a dominant force in sports? I mean, the last Olympics, America came tops, followed closely on their heels by China. Some of the reasons include, number one, in America has a very strong sporting culture. They've nurtured and built over the decades, a very strong, very robust sports culture. Number two, America has invested hugely, significant funds in athletes' development. America has invested heavily, significant sums of money over the decades in athletes' development, especially, at grassroots, at young, at young age. Number three, there's a diverse talent pool. So there are sporting activities that blacks, that are synonymous with the black population. 100 sprints, boxing, and when it comes to gymnastics, except now that you have people like Simone Biles and all of that. But in gymnastics, it used to be a predominantly white, domain. Swimming, Michael Phelps and all of that, But in gymnastics, generally, in swimming, generally, ice hockey and all of that is predominantly, white. America has invested heavily in facilities, in human development, in stadium and all of that, all over. Now, like I said, also a diverse talent pool, and then finally, a commitment to excellence across a wide range of sporting activities. So America didn't just invest in sporting activities just to be a participant, but to be, at the top. So they invest, heavily in cutting-edge innovation, science innovation, and all of that. Now, I'll take this short break, and when I come back, I'll wrap up. Please stay with me. Welcome back. Now, as I conclude, this platform is essentially focused on developmental issues, or if you like, nation building. I am called to be, a nation builder. Everyone has got to find out what their calling in life is. My calling essentially is to be a nation builder. Now, economics as a discipline was and still is an arcane subject, but until economists began to focus more primarily on the people, on issues that pertain to people directly. So until economists, began to realize that probably next to medicine, economics is one of the most critical human disciplines. In fact, in highly advanced economies of the world, governments lose or win elections based primarily on their economic plans. If you come to the public and you're speaking about building infrastructure and building all of that, and you don't address the issues that relate or impact directly in the lives of the people, food, education, healthcare, affordable housing, and jobs, and all of that, retirement benefits, you're missing it, and you would lose. Of course, this does not apply, to Nigeria, but like I said, my calling is to be a nation builder, and I am doing this because this platform is essentially developmental focused. And how do we build this country to take its place, in the committee of civilized, society? So, with the myriad of existential challenges Nigeria faces currently, it is evident that besides agriculture, which our political leaders usually trumpet, but is badly hampered by a hydra-headed insecurity, problem, sports is the next biggest socio-economic force with the capacity to harness and positively channel the energies of millions of our youth. Without a deliberate, strategic, and focused investment, in developmental sports at the grassroots, that is, schools and community levels, our nation may never escape the current insecurity vortex. What America has done most effectively, and which is in plain sight, for serious countries to copy and adapt, is that formal education and sports woven together at the formative years of our children remains the most potent tool for socio-economic liberation, for millions of our youth from a life of crimes, social vices, hopelessness, and generational poverty. I know it sounds strange, but until less than 30 years ago, the English Premier League, the La Liga, Bundesliga, even the French Championnat, wasn't a big thing in football in Nigeria. It was our local league. It sounds strange to Gen Zs and millennials, but that's the reality. Now, in the era before 25, 30 years ago, we had a football culture, a very strong football culture in Nigeria, where the likes of Shooting Stars of Ibadan, Rangers International of Enugu, Spartans of Owerri, later on became Iwaya National. We had Raka Rovers, Ranchers Bees, Mighty Jets of Jos, Bendel United, stationery stores, those who grew up in Lagos or Ibadan like myself remember up stores, super stores. So super stationery stores of Lagos, NEPA also of Lagos, FBN of Lagos. Later on, we had the likes of Abiola Babes in the 80s, early 90s, Abiola Babes, Leventis United, Flash Flamingos, Calabar Rovers, etc., BBC also, etc. But what happened? What happened? They died, disappeared completely. I think the story of how Nigeria got to this present cul-de-sac is a story that has not been told. I just reeled out clubs that had players, that had coaches, that had ardent, fanatical supporter. I was a fanatical supporter of Shooting Stars because I was born at the UCH Ibadan. My father's house still in Ibadan. I grew up in Ibadan. But by the time I moved to Lagos, at 16, I became an ardent Abiola Babes, fan. And the way we talk about Arsenal, Chelsea, Man U, Manchester City, that was how, my friends and I, and the older ones ahead of us, that's how we went about these clubs I just mentioned. We fought, we bantered, we called ourselves names. I know in Wanya National used to say, Onkebi Ologbo, Wanya, Onkebi Ologbo. Upsuited. Stationary stores in Lagos. Between stationary stores and NEPA, it was war in Lagos. And it was fun. And it had a robust, a vibrant economy that employed thousands of people. People traveled across the states to watch this local football league in Nigeria. But then he died. Just like that, died. Now, Nigeria, look at the implication. Nigeria with 70% population in the youth demography. And 42% of this under 15 can channel the energies and potentials of this youth to attain global sporting excellence and recognition in the following sporting activities. Football. Nigeria has always been, before I was born until today, a great sporting nation, especially in football. But we lost it. Now Nigeria plays against Sierra Leone or Gambia or such, small countries, and we're struggling because we lost it. Because if you don't have a robust grassroots or an effective local league, you can't do anything. All these are youths that escape by whatever route to Europe and join whatever league they want to join, and then you bring them in 1 month, to a contest, to a sporting, contest, and you expect them to gel or to blend or to understand formation or tactics. It doesn't work like that. I remember the days of the Segun Ondegbamis of this world. I remember when we went to USA 94, one of the best teams ever, the Super Eagles. Atlanta 96, one of the best teams ever produced by Nigeria. But what has happened from there? So we can attain global sporting excellence and recognition in football. Then in boxing, in athletics, in basketball, and in wrestling, if we get our acts together, we can begin by funneling resources into building, sports facilities in public schools and communities, as was the case, decades earlier. I used to go to Roe Park in Alagomeji, Yaba, Lagos. I lived in the Yaba area, Akoka area, close to Unilag. I lived different places with my mom, and then when I became of age, I got my own place. I lived around that neighborhood, so I know Lagos like the back of my hand. Roe Park, Alagomeji, Yaba, Lagos, I don't know if it's still there, I don't know in what state it is, was second home for me. If my mother needed to look for me and she didn't know where to go, she would find me there. Sports was an avenue. I never could imagine what youths of my era would have, all sort of vices would have gotten involved if there wasn't, an effective, sports avenue. Because I did judo, I played football on the street of Lagos, everywhere. But then when I got into university, I did judo. Uniben had one of the best sporting facilities ever in Nigeria, amongst Nigerian universities, Uniben. I spent 2 years at Uniben, and I spent most times in the gym at Ugbo campus of Uniben than in my lecture rooms. The resources state governors, because like I said in the first episode of this program, this presentation is not for the federal government. The Ministry of Sports is needless. It needs to be scrapped. We need to focus more on the National Sports, Commission. I would again appeal to governors, go get that first, copy, first edition, the first episode and watch it. Now, the state governors and local government, this is for you. Again, this is primarily targeted at you. The resources, money that state governors are investing in phantom projects, such as airports across Nigeria, is one of the reasons why insecurity would persist unabated. Nigerian politicians are a different breed entirely. If anybody can explain to me why a governor, former Governor Dave Umahi, currently Minister for Works, built that airport in Ebonyi, I don't understand. The new governor in Zamfara, someone who should know, a financial services expert, somebody who left the banking sector as ED, is building an airport in Zamfara. Pray to fly who? To where? Of course, it's for himself and his cronies, for the elite. Because it can be a bandit-ravaged state that the people are in IDP camps that you are building an airport for. Of all the things you could build is an airport of 60 or 70 billion. And of course, by the time that project is done, maybe 10 years from now, it's going to be over 200 billion. And then Ogun State, my governor in Ogun State also built one. In Ekiti, they built one. All over the place, airports. I'm not talking about bridges now, but airports. Who did this to us? Who did this to us? And we wonder why there is crime ravaging our society. So, if we don't fix this, if we keep wasting this money on these phantom projects, that's an avenue for corruption, to satiate, the grandiose egos of some of these politicians. We're not going anywhere. Now, I hope the respective governors and local government chairmen, take this as a free advisory and do the needful, for all of our sakes. I'm a patriot. I love this country. I don't get paid for this. I could have brought a guest here and then we'll talk about who slept with who or who stole what money and whatever. We do that occasionally, but this is what this program exists for. Developmental agenda. How to build a new Nigeria. That's what this platform offers. And I've done mine, as a patriot. Offered this to you governors, local government chairmen, and even to the president. Because these governors are copying you. Because if you are building a road to Lagos Calabar coastal project, you are doing another one from Sokoto to London or wherever it is going to. And they imitate you. That's what they are doing. You are giving sponsorship for all sorts of things. You are constructing all sorts of funny things that have no value. We have to develop our people. No country rises, without the people. A country rises or falls on the strength of its human capacity development. That's all I have to say. Now, that's the program today. Remember to follow me on my various social media handles. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can watch this episode and all the others that are there. Drop me your comments. I'd love to hear from you. But before I go, next week, I'll do the second part of the Edo elections. I have promised that 2 weeks to the elections, I'll do the concluding part and announce who I am, endorsing. We need to begin to endorse, political office holders, especially governors. It's critical because most of the governors, like I said in the first episode, either become presidents, or vice presidents. It's very important. So I'll do that episode next week. And, like I always say on this program, change requires action. Positive change requires positive action. I believe in a new Nigeria, and it is possible.